We're going to talk about shadow banning because I hear a lot of people talk about shadow banning, and I want to talk about it specifically on Instagram because this is a platform that I use a lot, and I see a lot of people on Instagram talking about, oh, well, I've been shadow banned. That's why nobody's seeing my content. Woo, doo, woo, doo, woo. All right, boom. Instagram posted, I don't know, maybe like a year ago, that shadow banning does not exist, right? So, my official stance, shadow banning does not exist, right? But the curious thing is what actually happens when you notice that your videos aren't being seen as often, when you notice that things that would typically be trending with your audience isn't trending anymore. What is actually happening if it's not shadow banning, right? And for those who are new and are like, what the heck is a shadow ban? The real short or bridge version or definition of shadow banning is basically where you are unknowingly taken out of the algorithm, so the people who would normally find your page do not find it anymore. And the biggest way that creators are seeing this is that their content isn't on the explore page anymore. Super strange. I mean, cue the sci-fi music, right? Because it's like, now you see me, now you don't. And I wanted to get to the bottom of this because I think that it's such a hot topic that will continue to exist because people are still experiencing it, right? So I did some research and I found out that shadow banning itself, as we know it, from the stance of creators saying that Instagram is maliciously taking people off of the explore page, does not exist. It doesn't, fam. Sorry. I don't want to be the bearer of bad news. I don't want to be the person that, messes up the conspiracy theory, because I love a good conspiracy theory. But the way that we understand shadow banning is not how it actually happens. And I wanted to make sure that I talked about it so that you all can get a better understanding of what actually happens, right? So the first thing to take into consideration when you start seeing your content slowly or even suddenly lose steam, the first thing to consider is your content still following the community guidelines of Instagram, right? I notice with a lot of creators who say that they're shadow banned, they start posting a little wild because they're trying to catch the momentum of all of the content that was doing well. So they start putting up all kinds of things, right? And sometimes that content and the timing of that content doesn't necessarily go with what Instagram is focused on, right? And the hard part of being a creator is keeping up with all these different platforms and what they prioritize. But that's why you have me, right? It's like, you listen to Donuts, Coffee, and Tech, I'll tell you what they actually are prioritizing because I'm going to read those documents, right? And I consume a lot of content that really explains it well. That way I can explain it to you well. So the first thing is your content still in alignment with what Instagram finds important, right? That's number one. Number two is, fam, there's so many creators on Instagram that they are randomly picking people's content to put on the explore page, but it's really about a global appeal. So if somebody's page is doing a good job of global appeal and your page has a very niche appeal, it's very likely that some of the audience that was being turned to your content will be turned away because they don't quite fit the niche based off of all the other content that they're engaging with, right? And we know that people change like the seasons when it comes to their interests, the things that they find funny, the things that they actually want to engage with. It all changes on like a daily basis, and it's really hard to keep up with. That's why I tell people, create good content that speaks to your niche and you'll be fine. But it sucks when you make good content and you start noticing that things are changing, right? And last but not least, you may be posting too often. And that is literally one of the things that I saw directly on Instagram's community guidelines when they were talking about the shadow ban, is that you may be in like this purgatory with Instagram where they're trying to figure out like, is this person really giving value to the community, or are they spamming the community, right? Like, and it's not any person that's doing it, it's robots, obviously. It's like computer generated, a machine. We'll just call it a machine. Machines are looking at the content and they're looking at certain things that trigger this idea of being a spam account. So they're looking at a lot of those different things when they're deciding whose content to put in front of whom, right? Ever changing, ever evolving. Instagram's trying to get better at it. So bear with it, right? Like, that's all I'll say about it. But shadow banning, as we think of it, or the way that it's been defined by people who use Instagram, it's not quite that simple. It's not that black and white when it comes to why your account isn't getting steam like it was getting. And if you need more help with this, fam, reach out to me. Like, I am so happy to just help you audit your page to see what's going on. And that's a free service because I just love it. Like, that's just something that I love to do. So make sure you reach out and connect in the fam. See, this is where the shameless plug comes in. Be a part of the fam so that you can get that free service from me. All right?